I think the greatest fear that we face is ourselves, actually. I think it's not anything that's external or anything that's superficial. I think the greatest fear you face is yourself, because we all have dreams, and it's very scary sometimes to accept the dream that you have. And it's scarier still to say, okay, I want that. It's scary because you're afraid that if you put your heart and soul into it and you fail, then how are you going to feel about yourself? What I try to do is just try to be still and understand that things come and go, emotions come and go. The important thing is to accept them all, to embrace them all, and then you can choose to do with them what you want versus being controlled by emotion. A lot of times I've seen players, even myself, when I was younger, being consumed by a particular fear. And to the point where you're saying, okay, nah, it's not good to feel fear. I shouldn't be nervous in this situation. Like, nah. And it does nothing but grow versus stepping back and saying, yeah, I am nervous about this situation. Yeah, I am fearful about this situation. Well, what am I afraid of? And then you kind of unpack it. And then it gives you the ability to look at it for really what it is, which is nothing more than your imagination running its course. Using the darker emotions, the anger or resentment or frustration and sadness, and using that as a weapon, using that as a form of offense. Some people are probably afraid to tap into that side of them, but it's such a powerful thing. My brain cannot process failure. It will not process failure. Because if I sit there and have to face myself and tell myself, you're a failure, I think that's almost worse than death. You'll have the pressure on yourself to play, to capitulate to that fear. If you play with the sense of I want to win, then you have the fear of what happens if you don't. But if you find common ground in the middle, in the center, then it doesn't matter. You're unfazed by either, right? And that enables you to really just stay in the moment, stay connected to it, and not feel anything other than what's in front of you. So I try to just be dead center. So being fearless means putting yourself out there and going for it. No matter what, go for it. Not for anybody else, but for yourself. My philosophy was a very simple one. And this is where I think film plays a big part of my life. Rudy was one of my favorite films growing up. But after watching that film, I come to understand if I could work that hard every day, with being blessed with the physical tools that I have, what would my career be? And I made a promise to myself from that day that I was going to work that hard every single day so that when I do retire, I have no regrets. And that was the most important thing for me, is to leave no stone unturned, get better every single day. And if I lived that way, then over time, I'd have something that was beautiful. But that was my philosophy. It seems like a pretty simple one, but if you live your life to just get better every single day, you do that for 20 years, what do you have? And the Mamba Mentality simply means trying to be the best version of yourself. That's what the mentality means. It means every day, you're trying to become better. And it's a constant quest. It's an infinite quest. To reach a certain level of success in any field that you're in, you have to have an ego that's going to say, I want to be the best. This is what's going to drive me. And come hell or high water, this needs to get done, and I need to be successful. It's a choice that you have to make. To me, the mentality is a really simple one, in the sense that the confidence comes from preparation. So when the game's on the line, I'm not asking myself to do something that I haven't done thousands of times before, right? So when I'm prepared, I know what I'm capable of doing, I know what I'm comfortable doing, and I know what I'm not comfortable doing, right? And so in those moments, if it looks like I'm ice cold or not nervous, it's because I've done it thousands of times before, so it's one more time. There's a choice we have to make as people, as individuals. If you want to be great at something, you have to make inherent sacrifices that come along with that. Family time, hanging out with your friends. So at the age of 18, I knew that I was not going to be stopped. This was my life. We all can be masters at our craft, but you have to make sacrifices that come along with making that decision. How are you inspiring others, right, to find themselves? That is the ultimate championship. I always just like, had a dream. Like sometimes you lay down in bed and you visualize things. And you just kind of, that's at least how I would go to sleep. I'd lay down, I'd imagine playing for the Lakers, and I would imagine what the uniforms look like. I'd imagine where we'd be playing, and the smell of the arena and all sort of stuff. And I would see myself, getting hot, and score 10 straight points. But in a dream, like, why would you ever interrupt that? Like, you're not going to have a dream and be like, okay, then he misses his next 6. Like, it's not going to happen. So you just keep dreaming and dreaming and dreaming. And before I go to sleep, I'm like at 120 points, And so when you grow up, downloading that into your brain over and over and over. And then, that summer, I made 1,000 shots a day. 1,000, right? That's on top of weight training and my conditioning. I made 1,000 shots, and they weren't just shots. It were shots that you saw in that game. They were specific shots. I mean, it was coming out of the corner, going to the pinch post, footwork in the post, coming off the screen. It was very specific. So when you download that into your system and you go out in the court and you're just executing things that you've done thousands of times before, and you have that dream, then that becomes possible. Man, if you got to get up every single morning and remind yourself how hard you need to work, you probably need to choose a different profession, Because that shouldn't be there. Because I wake up in the morning excited to get to it. If I'm not training, I'm missing it. If I'm not watching a game of basketball, I miss it. There's no place I'd rather be. And if you have that feeling, then you're truly doing what God has put you on this earth to do.